Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the football show with Yash and Neeraj. So, after an intense club season, we've finally reached the season of international football. So, all eyes will be on the Euro 2020, which has been postponed by a year due to the coronavirus pandemic. But this Euro 2020, which has 24 teams, will definitely be catching everyone's attention over the next month or so, apart from the Copa America that will be played out as well in South America. So we decided to do a special episode where we kind of preview the tournament itself and discuss who are the top contenders for this trophy. So Yash, let's get into this episode. Who do you think the top contender is for this Euro 2020?
Hi, Neeraj. First of all, it's really nice to be back with you. It's been a pause and all that, but yeah. Speaking of Euro 2020, it's got to be France. No second thoughts about it. Pogba and Kante in midfield, they've never lost a game when they've started together,
Oh,
and that's
okay.
like it's just quite brilliant. And their forward line is spoiled for choice. You've got Griezmann, Mbappe, and even when both of them are not playing, you've got Oliver Giroud who comes off the bench and packs a brace. The supposed
Benzema.
go-kart of the
You
yeah,
have
yeah.
Benzema as well.
Yeah, Benzema. I think Benzema's injured. He picked up an injury in the last game, but hoping that once France make it deeper into the tournament, they have Benzema as well. Defensively, they're really solid. They've got Varane, Kimpembe, you know, uh, and Hugo Lloris marshalling the troops. So it's just an abundance of riches. France have three world-class players for each position, and if they don't win the Euro, being the current World Cup champions as well. I know you have different thoughts about it. So who's your main contender for the Euro?
For me, also, it is indeed France. The way you mentioned it, you have three players almost for each position. You have world-class players even playing in the under 21s for France. That's how strong France is. But I also feel Portugal will be hot contenders, the defending champions, of course. And I definitely
Right,
feel this is a much better team than the Euro 2016 team of Portugal. And just
right.
like France, they have players across every position. They have a solid defense with flying fullbacks in Cancelo and Guerrero. They have
Mm-hmm.
Ruben Diaz in defense with Pepe and Font as the experienced guys. They have so many ball playing midfielders. And then when you
Right.
move forward, you have the man Cristiano there chasing record after record. And this time, the big thing is it's not just Cristiano. They have Bernardo
Mm.
Silva, they have João Felix, there's Diego Jota, and you have a few other forwards as well who can get the goal. So it's not going to be dependent purely on Ronaldo. I think Portugal will be a force to reckon with, and I would not be surprised if they do a double this time.
Right. It's surprising how you stick to your Liverpool roots and exclude Bruno Fernandes from the
Oh
conversation
man.
entirely. But
I didn't do that deliberately.
I,
I mean, I
I
missed that.
was I was waiting. Where's Fernandez? Where's Fernandez? Why is Fernandez not here? So, but then, yeah, good. Okay, yeah.
When you have
What?
Ronaldo to take the penalties, why is Bruno going to come into the picture, right? That's the reason I left him out.
Gonna fall over in the box and win them for Portugal.
Yeah, that's
That's the
important as
end game.
well.
Yeah, but apart from France and Portugal, who are the obvious contenders, I think Germany is in with a good shot this time as well. They may not have a recognized striker, but what they have is an
Timo Werner.
abundance of riches.
Timo Werner.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, apart from one, but they've got a lot of people who play that position in the 10,
Yeah.
So you've got Kai Havertz, who scored in the UCL final, very composed finish. So if Kai is there, and you've got like a crazy forward line with Gnabry, Werner is going to play, Sane is going to be playing, and you got to set them set them up with Kimmich and Cruz. Kimmich is absolutely world class. I mean, from a right back, he's been converted to playing in midfield, and he owns almost every position on the pitch. Kimmich is really classy, and you've got Hummels and Rudiger. providing the solidity from the back. You got Manuel Neuer, who is prone to big mistakes, like we've seen when Germany got eliminated in previous
World Cup.
competitions. Yes, the World Cup. But end of the day, he's still Manuel Neuer, and he's still got the experience of winning the big trophies, and I feel that's going to come in very handy for the German team. It's also Joachim Löw's swan song, I think. I mean, I think he's retiring after the World Cup, so that makes it extra motivation for Germany to go and send out their World Cup winning coach on a high.
True. I think Germany will be one of the major contenders as well. One more big reason would be the inclusion of Mats Hummels and Thomas Muller. Thomas Muller has just been in terrific form over the past 2 years.
Right.
After that horrible World Cup that Germany had, where Ozil, Muller, Hummels, and a couple of others were sidelined, rightly so, they brought back Hummels and Muller, and I think they will be a force to reckon with. The only problem being they will need someone to score those goals. They will be creating chance after chance, but who's going to get the goals? Just hope that all of these guys pull in and get the goals, like Sane, Gnabry, Muller, Havertz, and Timo Werner, of course. But I think Germany will
Timo
also
Werner has left on the bench. That's when they score. I don't think they're scoring with Timo Werner on the pitch. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. So apart from these teams, I think Belgium has a decent chance, but I just feel that Belgium, their time has kind of passed. Like, you have the solidity in the defense with Alderweireld, Vermaelen, and Vertonghen. All these three are in their late 30s. They're not the young team anymore. Hazard has had a horrendous time over the past couple of seasons, so you cannot depend on Hazard to do what he was doing a couple of years back in the World Cup. So I just feel it's one tournament too late for them. They still will be one of the top contenders, but you will really need everybody to shine for them to actually punch above their weight. They have youngsters coming in. You have the likes of Castagne, Tielemans there, who's really shown for Leicester this season. A few others coming in, but they'll really need everybody to be at the top level to actually do well. Hazard and De Bruyne really need to step up.
Yeah, and incidentally, there tends to be a over-reliance, in fact, on their big striker Romelu Lukaku to get them the goals, and because Lukaku is already almost the highest scorer for Belgium already, and there'll be a big impetus from Romelu to bring in the goals as he usually does if Belgium are to go deep in this tournament. We all remember their electrifying counter-attacking goal against Japan. But yeah,
Lukaku's never disappointed for Belgium, so I think he will do well. I think the major focus will be on Hazard, who has really lost it over the past couple of seasons.
Yes. Another team, that I was thinking about, Belgium being the proverbial dark horses. Another team may probably be Spain, but of course I was thinking about this like a week ago. The situation is completely changed now with Busquets and Llorente testing positive through COVID. Some surprising team selection as well from Luis Enrique. No Real Madrid players in the squad. No Sergio Ramos. So they're deprived
of the... Only a 23-man squad as well. They only picked 23 players.
Though now they have an alternate squad with 6 people plus the 11 people from the junior team, the under-21 team. They've got to do it because their entire team has been quarantined through because of as a precaution to COVID. And but even in the main team, they have some people who can really stamp their authority on the game. And even though I'm a United fan, I can say that the first person that comes to mind is Thiago, because of the way he. I mean, Thiago has been kind of underappreciated, even by me, and you know my views about Thiago as well. But you have to give the man his credit. Towards the later half of the Liverpool season, Thiago was a key man in the resurgence into the top 4. And and the recent acquisition of Aymeric Laporte from France, that's going to be a huge factor, because the solidity, the elegance that Laporte brings to a team that traditionally has preferred to play out from the back. I think we're going to see a resurgence of the tiki-taka. But going forward, one of the exciting talents to watch out for Spain is Dani Olmo. Um, he's a former La Masia graduate, and he just scores bangers. He reminds me of a young Marco Asensio who used to like score almost with every shot he took. So Dani Olmo comes up with clutch goals in later half of the season. He's just brilliant. So Spain, if COVID doesn't ruin their chances, they have a pretty good squad to take on and go really deep into the tournament. I, in fact, see Spain in the semi-finals of the tournament. So that's something I'm looking forward to.
My thoughts on Spain is they've always been this tiki-taka team. They've been having possession all the time. The problem now, when you compare it with 10 years earlier, was they had David Villa, Fernando Torres, and other goal scorers to call up upon. Raul before that. Who do you have now? It's Alvaro Morata. So who is going to get in the goals for Spain? That's the only problem. You have Thiago creating, Marcos Llorente creating, Koke creating. Who will score the goals? That's the major problem that I see in Spain. And that's the reason I don't see them as one of the top contenders. Semi-finalists, definitely, yes. If things go well, I think they can reach the semi-finals. But when you look at the top 4 contenders, I think they would find it a little difficult to beat them.
Yeah, true.
And let me move on to a team that I don't think you really enjoy. Because I think the Euro definitely... It is coming. Yes, the Euro is definitely coming home. Just like the World Cup was.
Okay,
it is England. Indeed.
Yeah, I always burst into laughter because of England, because of the hype that is generated around the English team. But go ahead. I mean, let me not steal your thunder here.
So I was looking at transfer market a couple of days back, and it showed that England squad has the highest value. So I think there is something that is there in this team. Obviously, when you have the likes of the Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes, Owen Rooney, Beckham era not doing it, you tend to doubt if England can ever do it. If that era couldn't, which era would do it? But there is something, the youthful exuberance in this team, which could definitely help them pull it off. They have extremely good right backs, like it's often mentioned, who create a lot of goals. But they have
Alexander-Arnold, but still good right backs. That's a interesting thought.
Yeah, you have to admit it. There are so many right backs who are still at home. Aaron Van Bissaka doesn't have a place even after there's no trend. So that's how good the team is. And the thing about England this time is they have a lot of different players. It's not the same kind of people who bomb from box to box. They have Grealish bringing in something different. Foden has just come off magnificently for Manchester City. And they have Harry Kane, who will just get goals after goals. He's a hungry goal scorer. So Sancho providing something different, Rashford providing something different. So they have a lot of quality and they have a lot of different players. And they have that steel in the likes of Declan Rice, Phillips, and Henderson's leadership as well. Only problem which I see is 2 of their main players, that is Henderson and Maguire, coming off injuries. That's one major problem. Will they be as fit as they would need to be? I'm not so sure. And the second thing, which we all know, Southgate is such a defensive coach. So would he play a back 3, or would he be adventurous, let these players play and actually show off themselves on the big stage? So that's the question, and that's what England fans also will be thinking about. And that's why we're not so sure if England can do well.
True. And one of the reasons why I'm not sure England's going to do well is because Southgate's going to play a back 3. Take it from me, Southgate's definitely going to play a back 3. England do not have the quality to go in with 2 central defenders. Maguire's coming off an injury. Tyrone Mings does not know how to defend. I don't know how he's clowned his way into the team. Connor Cody is good, but he is not world class. So I imagine the 3 of them starting together, or John Stones filling in one of these places. Yes. So it's definitely a 3 at the back, and it's going to be slow, laborious. They're going to look to Grealish, Mount, Foden maybe for some creativity, Sancho for pace. So the balance looks okay, but it's the defensive nature of the team that's going to hold them back. It's going to be interesting to see how they transition from that defensive outlook into the attack. I mean, I don't know where so Harry Kane is a world-class goal scorer, but who's gonna get the ball to him?
Mount,
That's one of the
Foden,
questions.
Grealish. I think these guys will have a huge role to play. Let's see. Let's hope that we do see England actually attack and not, like you mentioned, Southgate just putting a back three and another couple of holding midfielders there just to have that solidity. That will not help England move forward for sure.
True, and their attacking talents are just wasted if you play 5 defensive people.
Yeah.
Moving.
So speaking
So
about
yeah,
defense, let's get into the defensive teams now.
Oh yes, and what is a more defensive team than the famous Italian wall of Bonucci and Chiellini, with Florenzi to back them, and and Chiesa as well. So yeah, Italy have traditionally been viewed as a defensive team, but we have to remember that the age of Cannavaro and the 2006 World Cup winning team, those were the elitist of elite defenders, Maldini, Nesta, and that isn't quite coming through with the current Italian team. I feel both their centre backs are aging, and aging fast. That too. So there's a definite lack of mobility in their defense to cope with speedy attackers. They've also been drawn in a tough group with Switzerland and Turkey. And Gareth Bale can even torment these two, Welsh being the fourth team. I have my doubts, but where it's really exciting for them is going forward. So they've got Ciro Immobile and Lorenzo Insigne. So if they want to play a two-man striker formation, and they've got Andrea Bellotti, who's been absolutely brilliant this season in Serie A. They've got Nicolo Barella, who I feel is their main man this season, alongside Jorginho, who's going to be protecting probably the aging pair of Bonucci and Chiellini. So all in all, it looks quite solid. The Italians are renowned for their ability to sit back deep and transition into attack in one move and open up teams. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out in a tough group that they've been dealt out.
I think we'll really look forward to seeing Italy after they missed out in the previous World Cup. A similar situation is with Netherlands as well. They also did not make it into the previous World Cup. Finally, they're into this Euro, but they're without the main man in the defense. Virgil van Dijk has opted out from the Euro due to his injuries. So will they be the same force without him? Are they an amazing team even with him is the question that I have. Because you look at the back, they have a solid defense. But move up, do they have people who can score goals? They have Wijnaldum and Frankie de Jong in midfield, but it's completely dependent on Depay. I actually feel Netherlands is more dependent on Depay than Argentina is dependent on Messi. And that's going way too far, but that's the case with Netherlands. I don't see any goal scorers in this team. Wijnaldum, who hardly scores for Liverpool, is a main goal scorer for Netherlands. That's how he plays. So they really need to build their team around the defense. And that's how they can go ahead. I don't see any way else because the goals don't come. They really need to be solid in defense, just like Italy. And that's how their team has to be built.
And even with Depay, it's interesting that you mentioned Messi because Depay doesn't play as an out-and-out striker. Depay plays in that half space between the midfield and the forward line, trying to rely on trickery to beat his man and set it up for someone who puts the ball in. And over here, I feel Netherlands are going to rely a lot on Wout Weghorst, the Eintracht Frankfurt striker. Who's kind of had a delayed entry into the national team. He's 28 and he had his debut, I think, yesterday or day before. But he's a lethal finisher, at least in the Bundesliga. So I'm interested to see how he adapts to the Netherlands team and whether they are able to actually channel his goal scoring ability at a club level into European competition. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. Another underdog team, and this one's really close to my heart. It's time to talk about Turkey, and it's actually time to consider them as a lethal sort of a force. So Turkey for me are the dark horses in this World Cup. They set up really well, really solid at the back. They've got Ozan Kabak from Liverpool, who's excellent at ball retention, who's excellent at sort of recycling the possession, cutting out incisive passes, and if they want to bring the ball out from defense, they've got Çağlar Soyuncu, who's doing so well at Leicester. And their midfield is what stands out, because you've got Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who's really going to be very creative and set up the entire attack. And you've got Burak Yilmaz, who's just won the League One title with Lille. Please see our previous video for a breakdown on Lille. But yeah. Little bit of video promotion. But yeah, I mean, Turkey for me are the real dark horses of the Euro. And it's going to be interesting to see if they actually live up to this promise and do well in Europe.
Pretty interesting insight, because I did not have Turkey in my thoughts at all. I don't see them in the anywhere in the main consideration as well, amongst the bookies as well. In terms of dark horse, a very surprising name would be Croatia, considering that Croatia actually reached the World Cup final. Why are they only the dark horses and not one of the favorites? I feel this Croatian team has just gone a little too far. Again, very similar to Belgium. Few players have retired. Subasic is retired. Mandzukic is not there. And the main man in midfield, along with Modric, Rakitic is retired. Three of their main players have retired. And the core of the team, which includes the man Modric himself, the captain, Dejan Lovren, Vida, Perisic up front, all these four guys are 3 years older now. So the core of their team either is not there or are quite old, in their 30s. So that's the reason I feel Croatia would not be one of the major contenders. And even as dark horse, it would be a little difficult for them, because it's a very old team. They'll need to rely on some of the new players coming through, Kovacic and a few others who are coming in. They'll really need to step up and do well. That's the reason I feel Croatia, despite being the World Cup finalists last time, don't stand a really great chance in this Euro. I'd like to be surprised, and we'd all, I think, love to see Modric play as well as he did in the World Cup last time.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's true. I mean, Croatia, no one expected them to go to the final last year as well, in the last World Cup as well. But they did. And perhaps they can spring a surprise for us. So
that's a dark horse.
Yeah, that's the entire purpose, exactly. So that brings us to the end of, I think, our discussion on the Euro 2021 and what we think were the chances for the main contenders. Do let us know if you think we missed someone out, or if one of the teams stands a stronger chance of winning. And who knows, we're just hoping to be treated to a month's worth of great football and hopefully be surprised along the way. So thanks for watching, and do let us know what you think in the comments below. Thank you.